The types of fasting and intention. This is what we'll be discussing in this episode.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, dear viewers. So far we've discussed the definition of fasting and the meaning of the fiqh of fasting, the significance and the importance of fiqh of fasting, and we discussed the evidences of fasting in the month of Ramadan. So in this third episode, we'll be discussing the different types of fasting and some additional rulings related to intention. If you recall, in the first episode, we discussed about niyat. When we were discussing the definition of fasting, Imam Quduri rahmatullahi alayhi mentioned is to abstain from eating and drinking and intimate relationship with one spouse, whether it be one spouse or otherwise, abstaining from intimate relationship during the time of Subh Sadiq, which is the Fajr time, up until Maghrib time, ma'a niyya, with the intention. Why is intention important? Is because intention is what makes it into an ibadah. It differentiates between physical exercise or personal exercise and ibadah. Because if somebody was to fast, abstain from eating and drinking without intention, then that's not considered an ibadah. There's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, "Innamal a'malu binniyat." All actions are dependent on and they're all based on intention. Ulama scholars have mentioned that when it comes to ibadat, intention is necessary, just as intention is necessary for salah, intention is necessary for zakat, intention is necessary for hajj and umrah, etc. So niyyah literally means, the scholars mention, is aqdul qalb. Aqdul qalb means is the knot of the heart, knotting of the heart. So in other words, that when you tie a knot on something, it becomes firm. Likewise, intention, that once you make the intention, it makes that ibadat firm, because now you know exactly why you are observing this particular ibadah, why you're observing this ibadah. Now, when it comes to making the intention in the Hanafi madhab, that during the month of Ramadan, then you can make the intention during the night, or you can make the intention after Subh Sadiq, just before midday. Just before midday. Some scholars have mentioned is just before Zawal, in other words, just before Dhuhr time. Some scholars are on the view is before Chash time, which is basically just over an hour and a half before the beginning time of Dhuhr. But either way, that a person has the concession to make the intention even after Subh Sadiq, up until before midday, or well before midday, so long as majority of the day comprises of him abstaining from eating and drinking with intention in of itself. If somebody, for example, if they decide to make the intention past Zawal, past Zuhr time or after Zuhr time, then that intention will not be valid. This is what intention is. One condition to I must highlight is that if somebody makes the intention during midday, which just before midday, or after Subh Sadiq, for instance, right? Just after Subh Sadiq, let's say just before sunrise, for instance, then that intention of fasting is only valid if a person did not eat after Subh Sadiq. So if somebody, for instance, ate after Subh Sadiq, after Fajr time, or just before sunrise, they had a slight snack or something, for instance, even if they forgot, then they made the intention afterwards, then that intention will not be valid. Then that whole day's fast will not be valid. They'll have to make qada of that. So this is according to the Hanafi madhab. So this is the type of this is the intention, that you can make the intention during the night as well as after Subh Sadiq, or well before midday. But now there are certain exceptional cases that where certain types of fasts you cannot make the intention after Subh Sadiq. Just to simplify, that the whole types of fasting that we observe, they fall under one of three categories. Fasting that we observe, whether it be fard fast, whether it be a wajib fast, whether it be a sunnah fast, whether it be a nafil fast, they all broadly fall under three categories. The first category are those type of fasts which have a stipulated time. They have a fixed time. In other words, there's a fixed time during the year, during the month, or during the week that you fast. For example, the month of Ramadan is fixed for the fard fast. The sunnah fast, for instance, fasting on the Mondays and the Thursdays is sunnah, or fasting on the white days of every month, which is the 13th, 14th and 15th of the Islamic month. To be clear, not according to the English month, but according to the Islamic month, 13th, 14th, and 15th. That's during the time when we have the full moon. Now, likewise, for instance, fasting on the 10th of Muharram, or fasting on the day on the night of Arafat for non-Hajis, for instance, right? For non-Hajis, all of these fasts, they are fixed. The ruling in regards to intention for them is that you can make the intention during the night as well as after Subh Sadiq. The second category are those fasts which they do not have a stipulated time. In other words, they're not fixed during the year. You can observe those fasts whenever you can, whenever you want throughout the year. They are, for example, qada fast, or they be kafara fast. Likewise, those vows a person made, if a person made a just general vow without stipulating a time or a month or a week during the year, they all fall under non-stipulated, no fixed time. The ruling that the ulamas mention is that you have to make the intention during the night. You cannot make the intention after Subh Sadiq. So if, for instance, if you want to fast, if you want to make a qada fast, for instance, you have to make the intention at night. You cannot make the intention after Subh Sadiq. So that's the second type. Then the third type is nafil fast. The nafil fast, you can make the intention during the night, or you can make the intention during the day. And we do find evidences of this where the Prophet ﷺ himself, that when he observed fasts, then Rasulullah ﷺ, that he will sometimes make the intention at night, sometimes make the intention of Subh Sadiq. Nafil fast, for instance, that the Prophet ﷺ, say that Aisha radiallahu anha herself narrates that if there was any food in the house, the Prophet ﷺ would eat. If there was no food in the house, the Prophet ﷺ would then make the intention that I am fasting. This was early hours of the day. This was early morning. So this is just a simple understanding of intention and the different types of fasting. Jazakumullah khair for listening. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.